Welcome, friends who are with us live or watch the replay. This is Patricia Fripp, and this is a very exciting event where I will be interviewing an expert on branding, and today we will look at most specifically the social media aspect. We will look at how do you connect to your audience on stage and online. This is a special event promoted by Fripp Virtual Training, and I will give you a heads up. It will also be a not so subtle promotion of Lady and the Champs, because we will be using that as an example. As my friend Simmer Lieberman likes to say, Fripp, you are a shameless self-promoter, however you teach us how to do it. And isn't that part of why we attend events like this, is not only to learn, also to look at, is there something happening that we can model? A very important part of all our meetings is Paul, who will now tell you how you can engage with us and our very special guest, how you can answer polls and submit questions. Take it away, Paul.
Hello everyone. On the right hand side of your screen you'll see a chat box. In this chat box you can enter your short specific questions that will be answered during the call. Also in that same area we'll be running polls throughout the call. When the poll comes up, select your answer, click vote, and then click the chat tab to return to the chat. Thank you very much.
And let's bring up the first polling question that you will have a minute to answer while I introduce our special guest. And I love this question, and it's one that I would have answered very differently a few months ago than I do now. And that is, do you think that social media is a waste of time? Yes or no? Our special guest, the branding expert, her name is Melanie DePaoli. And as she likes to remind me, pretend the A isn't there and you will pronounce my name right. Melanie is not only an expert at branding and social media, she is a very popular speaker and author, and the president of the Northwest chapter of the National Speakers Association. So welcome, Melanie.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, and Melanie is also my director of social media. Now, that doesn't mean I don't do my own social media. She does make sure when I'm really busy, as I will be next week with Lady and the Champs, that my posts are set up so my adoring fans will still hear tweets and hopefully good advice. So, exactly. Melanie, while our guests are telling us if they think social media is a waste of time, could you start by helping us better understand how social media fits within our branding?
Your brand is the expectation that your customers have with you. It's the expectation that you set before they'll do business with you, and then the experience that they will have while they're doing business with you. Your brand is a story. In order to communicate that story, it can't just be words and colors on paper. It actually has to be alive and come to life. And it's your job as the brand to make that happen. Social media is a way of telling your story. It's a form of communication. Just like picking up the phone, just like sending a text, or just like sending a letter through the snail mail.
Perfect. All right, Paul, I see we have the results of our poll. Would you like to tell everybody what the answer is?
Yes, it looks like, excuse me, 22% of people thought that social media is a waste of time, but luckily 78% said that no, it's not.
Well, Melanie, why don't you start by addressing specifically the 22%? And in our audience, we have speakers, consultants, seminar leaders, and we also have some of my corporate clients who, of course, are interested in the branding themselves of social media, and also they're interested in the branding of their companies, because more more now expected to tweet and to engage with LinkedIn. However, many of them don't understand how they drive their company's brand by doing it.
That's a great question, and the two most common areas where I see businesses fall is they either think social media is a waste of time, or they're implementing it and they're tweeting and they're posting, but they feel like they're not getting any results. Usually the root of both problems is that they don't understand the purpose of the tool. Why are they doing what they're doing? Why are you sending that tweet? Why are you posting in LinkedIn? Why are you sharing that photo? Once they understand the why and how the why can help them, then their perception of social media tends to shift.
All right, well, let's start from small to medium to large.
Okay.
Why would we small business people, we speakers, consultants, coaches, and perhaps sales professionals in our own business, why do we do it?
We do it because we don't like to make that cold call. We dread having to pick up the phone and call somebody that we don't know, that doesn't know us. They're going to do everything in their power to avoid our call. Social media allows you the opportunity to meet somebody prior to ever contacting them. Think of it as legalized stalking. Keyword there being legalized. I'm not promoting anything illegal.
Yeah. This is an interesting observation. I have a new client which is a very high visibility company because of something that happened in the news. And when I went to their office to meet him for the first time, they have two screens. One shows the activity that their company is related to. The other is the Twitter feed. And I'm thinking, well, I want to follow them on Twitter. I want them to see me on their Twitter feed. So, for example, with a company, give us the strategy with a company and then how they should guide their associates to add to that.
Okay, great. Again, remember your brand, and all we're doing is telling your story. We're communicating your brand in a way that people can receive it. Marketing of before was mainly driven by companies talking at their market, telling their market what they wanted them to hear, what they wanted them to know, and what they wanted them to believe. Today's market is driven by listening and engaging. The average everyday person like you and me, well, I don't know if I can put both of us in the same category, but for now I'll pretend. The average everyday person has just as big of a voice as the major corporations of the world. And if anything, we have a bigger voice because there are more people like us than there are the large corporations of the world. So whether you choose to be a part of the conversation or not, the conversation's going on.
It was an eye-opening experience for me to attend my first new media expo, which used to be called Blog World. This was a couple of years ago. And one of the major sponsors, who was one of the most incredible speakers, was the gentleman at Ford who was in charge of their social media advertising. And I had no idea that each car had its own Facebook page. And really, this was driven by the owners and the fans and the enthusiasts. Exactly. And this was a very eye-opening experience and probably one of the best ways to reinforce exactly what you're saying. Another gentleman who was the president of the special sports events in Las Vegas, what's it called? I'm brain dead at this moment.
Okay.
But what he was saying, these big events about how he's sitting backstage, it's the extreme fighters. That's it, the extreme events. And people were tweeting him. For example, one woman tweeted, suddenly they'd put another camera right in front of their seats they couldn't see. And she tweeted him, and immediately he had someone go and move them and get them better seats. And the woman just happened to be in the audience at New Media Expo. And that was just such a great connection of real people using technology to get to the president of a company, and then they're also there live at the event.
What you're actually talking about is leveraging your community. Every company, no matter what your size, if you're a solopreneur all the way up through the major corporations of the world, you have a community. And that's what we've been focusing on with you in building your FrippVT community. That's why a lot of your tweets have that hashtag of #FrippVT. When people use that hashtag when they're tweeting, they're saying, I'm a part of this conversation, I'm a part of this community. They're choosing to be a part of it. And the other element that you mentioned with that woman being in the audience, that's the power of social media. It levels the professional playing field. It gives people access to other professionals who they otherwise would not have had access to. That's the power of it if you use it correctly.
Good. Now, Paul, let's bring up the next question, which are you confused about hashtags? Seeing you brought up the hashtags of FrippVT, and I am the first to admit I was totally confused about hashtags until I got to know you. So while our audience are telling us, and we'll see if 22% are confused or this time it's even greater. So exactly, and start as if people don't even know what a hashtag is. The hashtag, of course, before the FrippVT, and you can see this modeled under alongside my name. When did hashtags come into existence? From the very beginning?
No, hashtags were actually invented after Twitter by Twitter users. Twitter users were trying to find a way to follow conversations that they were having with other people on the platform. So they talked about it and they made suggestions about this or by that, and eventually they settled on using the hashtag. And the hashtag was used by users before, I think it was for a couple months before Twitter accepted it and turned it into a link. Now every hashtag is a link. You can click on that link and you will see a conversation of everybody that's participating. Usually why businesses feel that social media is a waste of time is because there's a lot of noise out there, and they don't want to get lost in all the noise. Hashtags allow you to sort through the noise and find specifically what you are looking for.
All right, good. Now, we don't have an answer yet to know if people are confused, but oh yes, actually, now this is wonderful, 88%, this is very interesting because 88% are confused and 13% aren't confused. Doesn't that make 101%? I'm not great with maths, but even
Neither am I, but I think you're right on that.
The good news is, though, we have such a large audience because they need the help that I do. So, all right, so this is very exciting. So we mere mortals found our own way, and Twitter, being a young enough company to say, hey, our customers want this, so let's do it. Now, we are using hashtag FrippVT, so everyone can find a way if they're interested in seeing videos and information or hearing about meetings with FrippVT.
Exactly.
As we are here to also talk about Lady and the Champs, And I am now not flashing you. I'm going to stand up and show you my T-shirt, which is King Crimson, because my brother Robert is one of the major speakers at Lady and the Champs. Yes, he is from King Crimson, the very famous band. However, don't think rock musician. Think quiet, thoughtful, intelligent presenter who is not nearly as flashy as his sister. And I truly believe he's going to blow the rest of us off the stage, just in his quiet way of approaching, but the future is to see. So we have, and it was you who suggested it, Melanie, hashtag LadyChamps15, because last year you were there as an attendee. You weren't even part of my little consulting community. And you said you tweeted more than anybody else in the audience. So why don't you go back? We did have a hashtag, but you, for the most part, were the only one using it. Is that right?
At the time, yes. Now, having a hashtag, just creating a hashtag is often done, but then it's never used. There's no purpose to having a hashtag if you're not going to use it. The power of hashtags, not only does it allow you to filter out the noise that you don't want to hear, it allows you to find out who's sitting in the room with you, what they're learning, and who you need to meet. So at Lady and the Champs next week, as attendees are tweeting their aha moments, what they're doing for lunch, what they're doing for dinner, it's a way to network with people that they've never met. Usually when you go to a conference, you only have the opportunity to meet people who you sit next to or who you sit with at lunch. Leveraging hashtags on Twitter in particular allows you the opportunity to meet people that you are not sitting next to. They may make a point that they've learned from Lady and the Champs, and it becomes an aha for them. So you want to go talk with them further. You can respond to their tweet and say, "Hi, John Smith. I didn't think of it that way. Can we meet up and talk about this further?" It's another way of communicating. It's just like sending a text. It's just like picking up the phone.
All right. So a hashtag for an event, and this one, and then I'm going to bring up another that's coming up because I know of a few people who signed up for this conference. So we're going to look at it from an association and a corporate sponsor standpoint. So one, we use ahead of the conference, and you said this, we start early developing the hashtag Lady and the Champs and information, not just salesy. It has to be advice. It has to be a good tweet. Yes. Then our community retweets it. Then while we're at the event, we do encourage people to continue tweeting. Now, is there a strategy for after the conference? Do we still continue using the hashtags?
Yes, you want to continue using the hashtag because as conference hosts, you're going to want to share all of the, not necessarily all of it, but be deliberate about what information you're sharing that maybe the attendees didn't see at the time. You're going to be able to gather photos. You're going to be able to gather and make memes, which is an image with some text on it. So you can make some memes with some of the best tweets and share them. It also becomes promotion for the next year's event. It's a way of branding from beginning to end the event, the speakers, and the experience of, in this case, Lady and the Champs.
Perfect. And maybe this is a good time, Paul, to just show people if they went to Lady and the Champs. Well, actually, I have it brought up. I think I can do this myself. Let me show off. No. So Let me go to one. I share my screen. Now let's keep our fingers crossed. Paul, can you now see live video streaming? Is that showing? Paul needs Melanie.
It's showing, but it's blinking a little bit.
All right. Well, what you're going to do, Paul, is you can bring it up, and then next time I ask you, you can show everybody. How about that? Now let me come back to my Google Hangouts. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing. Now am I still showing my Lady and the Champs?
No, we see you.
You see me? Good. I don't see me, but all right. Well, while I work that out, all right. Now, Melanie, signed up to this event, our event here. I have some of my friends from the American Payroll Association and from Global Cash Card. One of my friends, Christine, I met at a trade show, and Global Cash Card always gives away a spectacular prize.
Yes.
American Payroll Association is probably the most innovative association. Not only do they have the great events, all their education is top of the line. So why don't you, from the smaller event, which is speakers at our conference, go to the strategy you would advise for an association who's going to have 2,000 people at their conference, and also how their vendor partners work with them, because they're all tweeting. Because now I'm going to tell you a secret, because I had a booth last year. I had you sending photos and continuing to tweet, so I, as a little vendor, could compete with some of the bigger vendors. But tell us what recommended strategy that some of your clients use based on your advice that even the more sophisticated groups like APA and their sponsors might not have considered.
Wonderful. So when an organization is planning an event, they start, 6 to 9 months ahead of time, sometimes even a whole year ahead of time.
Yes.
Your planning should also include online promotion. The search engines like to see consistency. So when they begin to see, I'll use Lady and the Champs as the working example for this, but you can insert your own event for your own purposes. When they see Lady and the Champs 15, okay, it's a new event. I'm not sure if it's going to be of interest to the community, so we'll just kind of watch it. By getting the social media started early, it builds credibility within the search engines. The more credibility it has, the more likely you are to get results. And to get results, you need to have what I call a tribe. So it's not just one person sending out the tweet. You build a tribe of people within the organization, so you'll have your organization Twitter handle, plus specific people and their Twitter handles within the company. You can invite speakers to do this, and also your vendors. Let them know the hashtag up front. Offer to give them some tweets. This way it's less work for them. One idea that you could incorporate is having a monthly social media training. This way it's just a quick casual call to educate the vendors about how they can use social media and the credibility of the event to build their brand and get better results at that particular event. You've actually been doing it.
Yeah, and that's brilliant advice, because everybody says, oh, please use our hashtag. Very few organizations say, we honor you as our vendor, we want to maximize your exposure.
Exactly.
This is how we can work together. That's a brilliant idea.
And that's actually what you have been doing with Lady and the Champs. You've been interviewing PRPR and Speaker Match and all of your other partners along the way. They also have been tweeting using the hashtag LadyChamps15. So not only are they getting the publicity from being interviewed by you, they are also participating in the online conversation on Twitter. By them participating, we're building Lady Champ 15 credibility. So as we get to the event and then attendees start tweeting, there's a chance that we could actually make what's called the Twitter trending list. If we make
Never heard of a Twitter trending list.
Yes, when you log into Twitter, along the left side of your screen, you'll see that there's what's trending on Twitter. Facebook has this as well. It's what are the most people talking about. If you make that list, you will get national media coverage for free on the sheer principle of you made Twitter's trending list. It is not easy to do, but any big event makes that list. When Michael Jackson died, he made that list. If there's a serious earthquake, that will make the list. Serious events make that list, and if you are successful in promoting your event, training your vendors how to promote the event, and training your attendees how to talk about the event before, during, and after, you'll then be more likely to hit the Twitter trending list.
Wow.
And that's our goal for Lady and the Champs. Well, that's my goal for you.
Well, I would like that goal. Certainly, and this for our friends with the APA and their vendors, I mean, that's a big possibility because they have, I think, over 24,000 members.
Yeah.
That would be good. So, Paul, are there any questions at this point? Because I have other questions for Melanie, but let's see, and invite, let me click on chat, invite. I see there are a few questions, Paul. Are there anything we need to pose, or are they all questions for you?
There's one question that came up for Melanie.
Yes.
How do you create a hashtag from Gary?
Okay.
That is a great question. There is no official hashtag registry. However, because you can just literally go in, type hashtag, and whatever you want behind it, I highly recommend that you go to Twitter first, type that hashtag in the search that you want, and see if it's already being used. For example, when I first started working with Patricia, I was originally thinking we were going to use hashtag Fripp because your name is so well known. Yes, everybody knows your name. But that hashtag was actually already taken, and it's an island, I think, off of New York.
It's Fripp Island. No, it's off South Carolina.
Okay.
And I would like to tell you that it's mine. However, it is not. And it has a very rich history, though. The island was given to Captain Johannes Fripp, who years in the 1600s, I mean, we were probably related, and he was a pirate, which it's still probably in the blood. But that's a very good point. You don't want to start a trend and everything belongs to somebody else.
Well, then that brings up a great point. Only ride a trend when appropriate. In this case, us trying to steal that Fripp hashtag would have only discredited you and your value. So that's why we use hashtag FrippVT for your community.
Okay, and that's good. Perfect. So we certainly invite more questions. Paul, are there any? Otherwise, I have another, what I think is a fabulous question for Melanie.
As of right now, there are no other questions.
Okay, well, please feel free to send them in. I heard you say, Melanie, I want you to clarify it for our listeners, numbers never lie, but they don't tell the whole story.
Yes, that is one of my favorite things, my favorite phrases to say when I'm giving a social media presentation. You hear all the time, how many Twitter followers do you have? How many Twitter followers do you have? How many fans do you have? And numbers never lie, but they don't always tell the whole truth. It's really easy to get Twitter followers. It's really easy to buy fans. If you have 1 million Twitter followers and they never retweet anything you say, they never respond to you, are they of any value to you? If you have 500 Twitter followers and 50 of them will engage with you, retweet your tweets, respond to you, and will even pick up the phone and invite you somewhere, whether it be to give a presentation or to come in and talk to their company, which is more of value?
The 500 really good ones.
That's my take too. So don't get caught up in the social media numbers. Understand what really is important. There's a big trend lately of content, creating lots of content to push out there all the time. And while there's validity in that, what's more important is actually engaging with your community. Respond to them, retweet them, share what they're sharing, engage with them. The more you engage with them, the more your clout score goes up, the more your search engine credibility goes up. And I know another phrase that you like is your SMO, or your social.
That's my next one. Your SMO influence equals your SEO. Did I write that down right?
Close. The concept is there.
Well, tell us what it is and what it means.
Your SMO, which is your social media optimization, meaning the way that you use social media, it influences your SEO, or your search engine optimization, or where you will appear in the search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo. The search engines are constantly looking for what is new and relevant. And the best way to stay new and relevant is to not only post on social media, but to engage. They want to see that others are deeming you valuable, that you know what you're talking about. And in order to do that, you can send out 1 million tweets, but if nobody in your community does anything with them, you're not considered valuable or influential in the eyes of the search engines.
I want to be aware, Paul, do we have any questions?
Not right now.
Okay, good. Paul, if you can get ready to take people to a Lady and the Champs experience, just to show them how they could see us streaming live and check out the agenda and see how action-packed it is, as well as Robert Fripp of King Crimson with his sister Patricia Fripp. We do presentations together, and I do some of my own. Darren LaCroix, Ed Tate, Mark Brown are all world champions of public speaking. They will be delivering keynotes and breakout sessions. If you signed up for the streaming live, you could see 16 sessions, keynotes, panels, streamed live over the weekend, and for your investment, you get 1 year of access of all 26 sessions. For the whole year, as I say, you can watch it on video. So even the sessions in the breakout rooms that you can't actually see, we are videoing them, and so this is one of the best investments if you are a business or professional speaker, an ambitious individual who just realizes the importance of presentation skills in your business. No, so Paul can bring that up whenever you're ready, Paul. You can show them, and then the next question, here we are coming up. I want you to think about telling us, Melanie, next about social media etiquette. So there we have streamed lives, and as you can see, we encourage you to invite your friends. If you're part of a National Speakers Association chapter, a Toastmaster club, or for example, if you have a group of speakers for the American Payroll Association, we are even making available a group price. If you say, hey, we've got 20, 50 or 100 people would like this, we have a special price for that. Just let me know, pfripp@fripp.com. All right, Paul, thank you very much. You would just go to Lady and the Champ's experience, and at the end of this call, we'll have an area if you wanted to go straight there and check out the agenda. So thank you very much, Paul. Melanie, what is the social media etiquette? For example, if someone retweets my tweet, is it tacky if I retweet their retweet?
With social media etiquette, imagine, if you will, you're sitting in a coffee shop with somebody you've just met for the very first time. You're asking them questions about who they are, what they do, what they like, what they don't like. And while you're sitting there listening, you're not sitting there going, like, retweet, retweet. You're usually actually listening and engaging with them. So you're going to be saying, that's interesting, I never thought of that. Or, what do you think about this? Social media is another form of communication. When you respond to somebody, what can you say that will keep the conversation going? Your goal is to either start a conversation or continue a conversation, not end a conversation. Retweeting is part of the etiquette. So yes, if somebody retweets your tweet, you don't want to retweet that tweet. Instead, you want to respond to them and say something to the effect of, thank you for sharing, I really appreciate it.
I will slap my hand for doing that, and I will make sure I respond to that in future. Good.
Now, where you can retweet their tweet is sometimes, and this is highly recommended, if you are going to retweet someone's tweet, let's say you're going to retweet one of my tweets, Patricia.
All right.
At the end of my tweet, you can put 2 dashes and add your own comment. So if I have a tweet that you really like, you can retweet it, edit it, and then say, I really like this.
Okay.
Or this is powerful, and then send it. If it has that extra personalization, then retweet it. Then you can retweet a retweet.
Good. That's wonderful. Now, next question, Paul. We have a great question for our audience, and that is, what is the best social media to use? We have a poll that says that.
Yes, what is the most important social media tool to use?
Yes, perfect. If we would ask our audience and see what they think of that. Because we're talking an awful lot about Twitter. And
yes.
If you're not that excited about Twitter, we also know we have to have a business Facebook page and a fun Facebook page. And what you are encouraging me to do, and we hope we don't offend anyone, is that we really can't take any more personal friends. And it's unrealistic to think that I actually have 5,000 friends. There are friends I genuinely want to see their grandchildren because they are my real friends. But I really don't want to see your pretty dessert if I can't quite remember how we ever met, did we ever meet, or...
Exactly.
But I don't mind seeing a dessert if it's my friend and they say, this is where I'm going to take you to dinner in Las Vegas after Lady and the Tramps. Lady and the Tramps. What can I say? Well, at the National Speakers Association workshop recently, we had a mini version of Lady and the Champs. And of course, Michael Hoffman was calling them Fripp and her boys. So
we can rename it that.
Yeah, rename it. All right. So we have the poll up, Paul. We have the poll up. Oh, good. What is the most important social media? I'll give them the answer to this. 17%, Melanie, think Facebook. 25% say Twitter. And 58% say LinkedIn, which is why we need to have a conversation about LinkedIn next. And of course, and no people said none of the above. So everyone thinks, we didn't give them a choice of Google Plus, so what is the right answer?
I thought you said you were going to give the answer.
No, I was going to give the answer.
Oh, okay.
No, I let the expert give the real answer to the question.
Okay. There is no one right tool. That was a trick question. It depends on your market and your goals. The actual key to social media is understanding the purpose of each tool and how the tools can be used together. For example, Facebook is about personal connection. Facebook's top priority is they want to know that I know you and you know me. They reluctantly accepted businesses on Facebook. They do allow them, but it has a specific purpose. As an individual, your personal profile, you have a limit of 5,000 friends, which, like you said, Patricia, realistically, who has 5,000 friends?
Even someone as popular as I am doesn't.
Exactly. And like you said, you don't really want to see all that information. You only want to see the people that really matter to you. And that's where your business page comes into play. Your business page is a way for you, again, to communicate your brand, to show your brand through a variety of different posts. You can advertise through your business page. You can't do that through your personal page or your personal profile. And there's a way to leverage both of them together. But when you use a tool the way a tool is intended to be used, that's how you actually get results. And if you don't adhere to the terms and services of each of the platforms, you can actually go into what I call social media jail and be banned from the tools.
Well, as 58% think LinkedIn is the most important,
Yes.
Tell us how to maximize LinkedIn. And I know we think that is certainly more the business community.
Yes, I would completely agree with that. I know with my target market that LinkedIn is my primary source. I do have a business Facebook page because 90% of people will go to Facebook and look for a business page to validate that the business is real. We don't go to the Better Business Bureau anymore. We go to Facebook, so that's where that's important. But with LinkedIn, think every time you go to a search engine, and it doesn't matter what search engine you use, Google, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, whatever search engine you use, and you type in someone's name, all search engines search LinkedIn first. The search engines learn who you are based on your LinkedIn profile. That's why your profile is so important. How you engage on LinkedIn is equally important because that builds your professional credibility. It allows, again, it allows people to get to know you prior to ever knowing you. So a tip that I offer, and I practice this myself, if I receive a LinkedIn connection request from somebody I do not know, I will not accept it. What I do instead is I reply to them and I say, "Hi Tim, Thank you for reaching out. I'm happy to connect with you. May I ask how you heard about me and why you are interested in connecting? But this does two things. The first is it establishes a form of communication. It says, I care about who's in my market. I actually want to build a relationship with you. The second tip that it does is it weeds out what I call connection collectors. These are the people on LinkedIn who they don't care who they're connected to. All they care about is that they have more connections than you, and everybody else on the platform. Connection collectors will 99% of the time never respond to that message. So you simply click ignore and they will never know. As far as they're concerned, you just haven't checked your inbox yet.
I see. Now, would it be true to say if people do not put up a photograph in LinkedIn, they're not taking it seriously?
Very true. A LinkedIn study revealed that if you do not have a photo on LinkedIn, that your profile will be viewed 17% less than other profiles on LinkedIn. Personally, I would have thought that would have been higher because it's how people know you. And also show your profile, your photo, even to show it publicly, because I may not remember your name, but I may recognize your face.
Yeah.
Also, how many John Smiths are in the world? How do I know you're the John Smith I had a great lunch with and we're going to be meeting again? How do I know? Make it easy for me to do business with you.
Perfect. Now, with that, Paul, do we have any specific questions by any of our audience?
Not at the moment, no.
All right, good. Well, let's ask the next poll, which is, are you attending Lady and the Champs?
I am.
I am. Good. Well, we hope there's more than two. I happen to know that at least some of the individuals who've registered are going because I recognize who they are. But it would be very interesting to know that. All right, Mel. Now, as we are going through, we're now simplifying and demystifying this. We know the value, we know hashtags, we know any larger association and organization is well served to have a training with their vendors well in advance on how to use it. That's a very good tip. We know it isn't always the numbers. They don't lie, but they don't tell us the whole story. In fact, one part that I was amazed. I didn't even know how to check this. But when you started helping me, you said you will notice you have less followers because I bumped off all the sex sites and porn sites.
Yes.
So these nasty sites just go and attach to everyone they can?
Yes, they do. And anytime a hashtag starts to gain popularity, you'll notice that they will also be inundated with the porn and the spam sites as well. And it's highly encouraged that you block them and report them as spam. Twitter, just like LinkedIn and Facebook, has terms and services. And if an account is reported often enough, they will be blocked and potentially banished from the platform.
Okay. And our social media influence adds to our SEO, so it's really good to know the best practices. And are there any other etiquette? I asked you about retweeting, which was very interesting. Is there any really bad behavior that the average, say, LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is obviously of interest. What is bad behavior in LinkedIn? So one, you have to be careful who you connect to. What else?
Don't use LinkedIn like Facebook. You don't share your dessert photos. You don't share what date you're going on. It's completely irrelevant. LinkedIn does allow you to share photos or memes, And a meme is when you have that image and then that inspirational quote written on top of it. But think of, what does that really do for you? Yes, you may get some likes, maybe you'll get some shares, but what starts a conversation? Your goal in any social media activity is to start or continue a conversation. Let's go back to the coffee shop. You want to keep the conversation going. You want to keep it flowing to build the relationship. Another tip for LinkedIn is you can join up to 50 groups, and you can up that number if you join subgroups, but that's a conversation for another day. What you need to know at this point is every group has its own rules and regulations. LinkedIn does not like it if you spam the groups. So let's say you've just released your latest blog post and you're going to log into LinkedIn and you're going to go to group 1. Here's my latest article. Group 2. Here's my latest article. Group 3. Here's my latest article. You'll actually get put into LinkedIn jail. Okay. LinkedIn, unlike the other social platforms, is more subtle about it. You will never know that you are actually in LinkedIn jail, but every group owner will know, because your posts will no longer automatically be displayed. The group owner will have to pre-approve any time you try to post anything in any group. And if by doing that, it actually will reduce.
Now, I don't know what happened, but I just lost Melanie. So I don't quite know what's happened. I don't know if you are hearing her and I'm not. Probably not. So what I'd like to address, 56% of our listeners are coming to Lady and the Champs. I very much look forward to seeing you there. And then if you have not done so, please remember that we have the Edge Summit on the Friday, the day before, which is for our World Champions Edge members. However, for $1, you can try out a month's membership, and we invite you to sign up for $1 and then take advantage and come to come to the Friday event. I will be interviewing my brother. We will hear a great presentation on how to rock a TED Talk by an expert who has done exactly that, Kathy from Portland. And then Michael Haig, who is a screenwriting consultant to Will Smith's company, will also be talking about stories. And with the Edge Summit, we have a looser agenda, and we respond to what the audience wants. It's a smaller group and really a very valuable day. For the 44% of you not registered, perhaps it's because you've never heard of it. So at the end of this, Paul will send you an area that you can link direct there. Check out the agenda. If you are interested in speaking, and you can be streamed live, you do not have to get an airline ticket if you're not in Vegas, so don't worry about that. But just please check the agenda and see if that's of interest to you. And you have 3 choices. You have the choice of coming live, the choice of streaming live, or the choice, hey, I'm just a Robert Fripp fan and I only want to see Robert. All that you can find on the main page. So with that, Melanie, are you back with me? So I believe, so Paul, are you with me?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, good. I think we had a technical glitch with Melanie. So would you like to bring up the area so it is a pop-in ready for Lady and the Champs? So this is an event brought to you by the Fripp virtual training community. We have many in-person personal closed meetings for our FrippVT user, and then we have others that are open to the public, such as this. I will thank Melanie for being our guest. I hope you find that our information was very valuable, because if there's one area that is more confusing than any other in the business community, it's really what is the value of social media and how does it work with all my other advertising and marketing. Paul, you are a superhero as always for managing the technology, the polls, and the questions. And with that, do we have any other special announcements, Paul?
Not that I have.
Good. So we hope you will go check out the Lady and the Champs link. And if you are not part of the FrippVT community, go over to FrippVT.com. In fact, Paul, why don't you bring up FrippVT for them? This is my online, highly interactive virtual training platform on presentation skills. So go to FrippVT, take a free trial, no obligation. And with that, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you at Lady and the Champs, and watch your emails. Who knows when we'll invite you to another fun, valuable event. So thank you for your support. Thank you, Paul and Melanie, and hope to see you at Lady and the Champs.